our anger is the energy that we should have to hold proper boundaries.
Exactly. Are you angry? I know I get angry. What do you get angry about? And is it actually righteous anger, or do you just call it that to justify wrath?
Yeah, well, Jesus turned a cord into whips. Yeah. And maybe you're able to do that. But also, he was God, and you're not. So I think we've got to be really careful when we start getting angry. Really careful.
Let's talk about it. On a recent episode of Matt Fradd's Points with Aquinas, FatherBoniface Hicks discussed anger. Anger is a topic that is often misunderstood, and either vilified or justified, depending on who's on the giving or the receiving end of the anger. But what is anger? And how do we know if what we do with our anger is virtue or vice? For the answer to these questions, I want to turn to FatherBoniface Hicks, who articulated an understanding of anger and its proper use in a way that I had never heard before, and in a way that I think will be helpful to a lot of men. See, I think most of us recognize that even righteous anger doesn't justify excessive violence, but at the same time, we might be hesitant to accept meekness as the answer.
A virtue is a perfection of a passion, right? It's the middle between two extremes. And the passion of anger also has a perfection in virtue, which has the, I think, unfortunate translation of meekness usually.
Gentleness with others.
Yeah, and I like meekness and gentleness, but where is the anger in that?
When understood correctly, meekness is the virtue of being able to have control over your passions, so that any power you might have is used to care for and protect, not harm or manipulate those who are weaker. It's strength through self-possession. Or as St. Thomas Aquinas puts it, meekness moderates anger according to right reason. But for a lot of men, whether right or wrong, meekness has a connotation of weakness or timidity, which might make them hesitant to fully embrace this virtue. If this is you, FatherBoniface Hicks might have just the answer you're looking for. Let's listen to how he unpacks his ideas about how to properly understand anger and how to harness it for the good.
I think being able to hold our boundaries, when somebody crosses a healthy boundary, then we spontaneously feel that frustration, irritation, anger, and that's a good thing because our anger is the energy that we should have to hold proper boundaries. A virtuous way of doing that is sort of holding healthy boundaries, not getting vengeance, so that would be sort of the over on the one hand, or giving up and giving way, that would be the under, but the middle ground, the virtue would be sort of holding a proper standing in myself. And so this way of holding ground, and that's a healthy expression of anger. It takes energy to do that. It takes energy to resist. So the boundary is being able to stand in the integrity of myself.
And this is how we want to virtuously use the energy of anger, for the protection of others. We want to avoid wrath by not giving into the temptation for vengeance, but we also want to avoid the temptation to baptize passivity as something noble, especially when that means giving way to evil and temptations and allowing spiritual and physical threats to attack those entrusted to our care. We want to hold proper boundaries when it comes to protecting our families from the world, the flesh, and the devil. This is the type of barricade we want to create for ourselves and for our families. The barricade isn't an impenetrable wall that cuts us off from all outside contact, but it is a proper boundary that regulates what good and beneficial things should come through and denies access to dangerous and harmful things that should be kept out. Virtuous protectors need to be equipped and prepared to hold proper boundaries. Okay, so what are some real-world examples of what this looks like? Think of the person who lives out their faith in matters of objective truth, without giving into pressure from friends or family to compromise, but also doing so with love and compassion for those people that might not yet recognize or accept the fullness of truth. Or, think of the father that wakes up at 2 a.m. because he heard the front door get kicked in. Anger will give him the energy to engage the threat and protect the boundary of his home in defense of his family, whereas giving way would be lying in bed and doing nothing, and vengeance would be emptying an entire magazine into the intruder after he stopped moving, just to make sure he has no chance of survival. If you want to see a classic example of the internal struggle to find that virtuous mean, check out Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. Here you'll find a hero trying to hold proper boundaries in defense of his city, while trying not to abandon the principles that separate him from his enemies. He has learned how to harness the energy of anger as a protector, but at times, the temptation to let that anger overflow into vengeance is palpable. What about you? Have you mastered the self-control needed to use anger virtuously? Or do you struggle to find that golden mean? What frustrations in life are your biggest temptations to wrath? What do you think about Father Boniface's thoughts on anger and holding proper boundaries? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to check out my Blackout Rosary giveaway video, leave a comment, and subscribe. As soon as I get 50 new subscribers to that video, or reach 1,000 subscribers on this channel, I'll be giving away this incredible St. Joseph and St. Michael Blackout Edition Rosary, along with this Barricade Rosary pouch. Also, if you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit from it as well. And don't forget to follow the Barricade God on Facebook, X, and Instagram. The links are in the show notes below. And until next time, fortify your soul, body, and family.